Going into my senior year, summer of 1950, was the breakout of the Korean War. And that was the talk about people who had hung out at a drugstore in Durango, Colorado, and the variety of things that we knew something was going to happen. We were probably going to have to do something about getting in the service some way. I had had two brothers older than myself in the service. One was a sergeant in China, Burma, India, and one was a lieutenant tank commander with General Patton in Germany. But they were trying to get infantry officers, so I think MacArthur was screaming for some kind of help in amphibious landings. So that's how I got in the Marine Corps.
Raymond Murphy joined the Marines in May of 1951 after graduating college. After boot camp, he was sent to Quantico and later to Camp Pendleton to be trained as an officer.
They became in dire need of second lieutenants in Korea, so they picked out some 50-some out of this program at Pendleton, or training for the infantry, and put us on a plane flew us through San Francisco on over to Korea, and we were on the front line over there probably within a week.
Murphy's unit was trucked straight to the front line and directly into heavy combat. And 4 months later, he would be awarded the Silver Star for his actions. In the beginning of 1953, Murphy's commission was ending just as plans for a heavy offensive above the Imjin River were set to commence. Murphy elected to stay.
I was supposed to go back at the end of January. I suppose my contract had to be returned back to the stateside. But because this big action took place, I stayed on for a few days, and I was the platoon that was going to go up behind the two attacking and try to, mostly to get casualties. We started before the sun came up. We'd been laying in arroyos waiting from about midnight on, and the two attacking platoons went up. And it was sometime into daylight, around dusk, that it seemed like we couldn't tell what was going on up on the hill. And I felt that probably, since I was the only officer with the backup, that I should go up.
As Murphy and his men reached the summit, they were shocked to find all the company commanders dead or wounded, and the troops in mass confusion.
Well, I was trying to get the wounded out. First of all, that was the main for us before seeing if we would continue the fight. They were having a tough time getting some stretchers out of trenches, and I started helping the men getting the stretchers and getting them out of this place and getting them back down to the medics. I had to start giving some guidance to the men that were still able to continue in the attack.
While helping his men lift a stretcher, Murphy was wounded by fragments from an enemy mortar shell. He refused medical attention and continued to lead, making several trips back into the heaviest fighting to carry many of the fallen Marines to safety.
Some of it I don't remember. Some of it there was a lot of confusion. You get casualties, or even men that you didn't know whether they were alive or not, getting them back out of the front line and getting them back to where the medical people could look at them.
After evacuating the wounded, the assaulting units were disengaged, and Murphy stayed to cover their retreat. When the withdrawal was complete, Murphy turned yet again to the hill, leading a search party to recover the missing. Wounded a second time in the attempt, he again refused relief until every last man was off the hill. Raymond Murphy was treated aboard a hospital ship and then later in Japan and San Francisco. Later that year, he was in graduate school when he received a call from the Department of Defense.
I went out down the hallway and took the call from my brother Leo, and he told me what the DOD had, somebody in the Marine Corps headquarters had told him about I was going to be awarded the Medal of Honor, and they were going to take all my family. In fact, there were 7 awarded that day, 4 Marines and 3 Army. It's hard to catch all the action and all that men do, and I had a lot of good men. That's why I stayed past that January date, because I'd been with them for so long. And I can't really say that I had deserved something like that any more than some of those other men that were wounded or did not return. Oh, you can't beat this country. You just can't beat what this country has. And to defend it is an honor, really. That's why they call it honor. It's an honor to be able to go to the places and do the things that we do because of this country.